STAK Ventures is transforming real estate into full stack ecosystem solutions for the East Bay residency and global startups, backed by Behring Capital. Located in the heart of Uptown Oakland at 1900 Broadway and 1950 Franklin, STAK Space has 2 towers and a data center with 1.5 million square feet of luxury living, event space, resort-style amenities, EV mobility, office space, and access to one of the biggest startup ecosystems in the Bay Area. Check out stakspace.com. That's STAK, stakspace.com for more information. We'll see you soon. Yes, that is music to my ears. Welcome to STAK Ventures Podcast, where founders, investors, innovators all come together to explore what it really takes to build and scale great companies. And over the last 4 or 5, what team, and we got the team here in the background, what episode is this? Is this 5? Jeff?
5.
We're in 5. Okay. 5's a good number because we got the man, Colin Behring, in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Thank you, Brian.
Good to see you, man. We got a lot to talk about because what we're going to be talking about is really the movements and the motions that founders are experiencing with STAK Ventures. There's a lot going on, but I want to get you all who are listening into this. And in true Brian Sparks fashion, I don't do bios, so Colin, I'll let you introduce yourself. And because you've been on Silicon Valley Impact, I think you know the routine, buddy. So go ahead and give a little quick intro who you are for those who, geez, I don't know who they are, wouldn't know who you are.
Okay. My name is Colin Behring, founder and CEO of Behring Capital, and that has turned into a bunch of different things, but predominantly historically, we're most well known as a large-scale real estate developer. And then that has turned into a plethora of different things, focusing on real estate and technologies, real estate fund management, and then now really invested on the venture capital world. Mm-hmm. And we do both direct investments as well as co-investments with other GPs and fund of funds, per se. So, just kind of one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you're doing a whole host of things.
You're twirling a lot of plates. Yes.
Yes. All at the same time.
All at the same time.
They're not broken yet.
Yeah. And so we understand, Behring Capital, that's really the legacy company, 3rd generation real estate developer. But now what's really, really emerging since 1900 Broadway was completed is STAK. And you really have this mentality of like, how can you provide more value to the customer? So you've been finding ways to, cater not only to the residency side, but the conference side, the founder side, the investor side. You've really gone all out to stack value. What is kind of your approach to stacking value? And for those of you who are listening right now, a lot of times you may think your product may serve one need, but this is the man who can tell you how to look at your product from multiple perspectives. Colin, tell us a little bit about how you view this idea of stacking value and bringing this just consistent barrage of value to your customer.
Yeah, it's actually simpler than that. And in the real estate world, you very quickly, you start developing one small project, and then you start adding little pieces to it, and you start adding more and more different property types and different services and features, trying to make real estate more attractive to more people. And ultimately, the idea of the stack, and the term stack effectively is what most of the world would refer to as like vertical integration.
Right.
Yeah. So you have horizontal integration, you have vertical integration. It's effectively reaching out and grabbing more stuff and doing it yourself.
Right.
And that's because when you have control of something, or when you are able to impact more than just like the direct one product, you're able to keep quality control. You can keep speed, delivery, schedule, cost. All of these things tend to get easier. So in our world, we talk about whether you're going full stack, and whether you're fully integrated, and whether you're kind of really depending on yourself to deliver full value, full quality, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. And the idea of stack has really kind of popped up in a lot of different ways. So like for everybody that doesn't know us, STAK Ventures, built on the idea of really the tech term for being a full stack developer. You talk about front end and back end and database and all the different things it takes to actually make an app or make technology. For us, full stack real estate is the ability to actually integrate, all things live, work, play, go. So residential apartments, offices, research labs, transit, commercial and retail, like kind of everything that would go into a master plan community,
right?
Which is ironic because that's where my family started with really their reputation in real estate was building, mixed use master plan communities that were amenity based, multiple hundreds of acres, thousands of homes, but then you have retail, commercial, country club stuff. You did everything.
Right.
So that morphed into, our third generation focusing on urban infill. And that's high-rise multifamily, high-rise offices, high-rise everything, but urban, mixed use. And then now today we find ourselves in the technology world.
Right.
Also going full stack. Real estate technologies, prop tech, really reaching out into all of the things that fuel our building. And that's the services. It's everything from looking at smart access control. It's looking at all of our other, kind of smart building amenities, how the mailroom works, everything kind of all coordinated on a single app, which we refer to as STAK Site.
Yeah.
We're reaching out more and more and integrating more and more, trying to make the experience better. So full stack, whether it's on the real estate side, the technology side, we are STAK, and that has evolved into STAK Ventures.
And that really, for our audience who are founders, that really plays perfectly for those who are trying to build a business, their startup. They can come here, and from the venture side, the STAK Venture side, they utilize the infrastructure, they can utilize the community, and they can utilize the proximity to the rest of Silicon Valley. And it's really a go-to-market advantage that you've created. Many people have just come here and lived here, but for this full stack experience from work, live, play, go, it has really cut costs for startups, and that was your goal from the beginning. So, what we're going to kind of move into now is this idea of founders and investors in residency. We get an opportunity here to look at startups that either have office space here, or live here, or have membership here, do conferences here, whatever they choose to do here. They're in residency, and we can see them grow. Talk a little bit about the entire infrastructure a little bit more, because there's 2 towers, there's the garage, and there's the AI lab. Talk a little bit about how this sandbox can really help a founder not only build efficiently, connect through a bigger ecosystem efficiently, and then have access to multiple resources efficiently.
Yeah, so to introduce, kind of what we affectionately refer to as like the 1900 Broadway campus. Yeah, it's 4 different properties. We have a residential tower, mixed use. It's 452 apartments. Then across the street, you've got a 20-story office building. In the middle, we're connected by a major parking garage with, over 8 stories of parking. And then our AI lab, also the former Lawrence Berkeley National Lab supercomputer research facility, recently acquired that and plugged that into the campus. It's pretty much the AI infrastructure for, everybody looking for compute and GPUs and all that kind of thing for their startups, trying to test it, equipment, looking at little things in robotics. We've done a whole bunch of things for our startup community. And in the real estate world, we kind of look at it as 2 different ways. Like you make real estate decisions and decisions on where you're physically going to be, where you're physically going to live, work, play, and everything else. You kind of have 2 different ways of doing it. There's organic and engineered. Organic is really where every founder starts. It's like, okay, well, if I live here and I work here, and then like my gym is across the street, and then like there's restaurants that I like you've made organic decisions about how convenient your life can be. It's just like, oh, I'm a smart person because I have organized my life in a way where I can get everywhere I want to go in like 2 minutes. Yeah. And then they talk about 10-minute cities when you're talking about master planning and things like that, where you can just walk anywhere you want to go. Then there's engineered decisions where like it's purpose built. It is absolutely supposed to work this way. And here at STAK, effectively what we've done is we've taken all those really smart organic decisions where you might get lucky. Like, you had your gym there, you had your restaurants, and you had your, apartment and your office kind of nearby, but then things change. gym closed down, restaurants moved out, whatever it was. Here at STAK and in our campus, we control everything, we design everything, we built everything. Here it's engineered for startup success. You can live here, you can work here, play here, everything all at the same place. And you get the support because we built a community that brings founders, funders, consultants, and go-to-market specialists, and all these people that want to gather around that energy.
Right.
They just naturally will start convening all in the same place because that's where everything they're looking for happens to congregate. It's the watering hole.
Right.
So, you see that effect start taking place, and then that center of gravity gets stronger and stronger, and all of a sudden we're a couple thousand members deep, and that community becomes rock solid.
Yeah, and I love what I've seen over the last, it's year plus, probably about, 16 months now at this point, how a founder can come in, be a member, work out of the co-working space, grow up, get introductions to investors, get an office space, start to build their own communities, and it just it becomes this literal launch pad. And again, for those of you who are listening, I know that we're kicking out a lot of information, but if you want to learn more, you can go to stakspace.com or stakventures.com to learn more. And obviously you can connect with our entire team. They're all here. That information will be in our show notes, but we'd love to share more with you about that. And so, Colin, we have had countless case studies of people who are either living here, members here, office space here, and they're growing up. And what we seem to find that compounds on that is we're getting a lot of kind of investors come around and asking questions. And we're able to, not only from our perspectives, but from their perspectives, they can watch these startups utilize this resource, kind of test their bootstrapping mettle and see if they're fundable. And that's really what the advantage is of a founder-in-residency is you're being watched. You're being watched by investors. You're being watched by us. You're being watched by partners because we have a lot of great partnerships. We have Startup Grind. We have Transforms. If you're looking for corporate partners, we have that. We have Access. We have everything. What would be your message to those who utilize not only the infrastructure, the proximity, because what you've also done is situated this tower right on top of the 19th Street BART station that can get you into San Francisco in a heartbeat. And so you've brought multiple worlds together. What would you say to the founder who is maybe living overseas or down the street, South Bay, maybe in New York? What could they do to come here and just drop a bag and go?
It's about getting involved. Get plugged in, get into the community, become known rather than, it's really about not exactly who you know, but who knows you.
Yeah. And
here, that's an opportunity where when you have kind of this long-term exposure to a community, like you said, the venture capital firms are here, the investors, they are coming to these events and they are trying to find out who's who. And even more than the product or the company and that startup that they may have happened to see or learn about, they're learning about the people. Yeah. And a lot of these venture capital firms that circle around here, they're talking about the kind of the long game. It's not just meet somebody one day and then throw the seed round tomorrow and then throw the Series A the next day. It takes months.
Yeah.
And, to be a part of a community where you're constantly running into these people and you're constantly chatting and they're constantly asking what you're working on and what skills you're developing and how you are putting things together. And then also just how people respond to you, how you treat other people. All of these things kind of go into that founder mentality and whether you're, fundable.
Right.
So, in the community where you are in a place where a lot of people can see you and you can see a lot of other people, you're constantly getting exposure. You're getting reps.
Yeah.
You are getting that practice. You are getting out into the community where people know you. The worst thing you can do as a founder where you are sitting there, you have your computer, you're in a dark room all by yourself. You think you're coding, you think you're building something, but the other part of the game is you need to be gathering information. You need to be gathering data. You need to be testing things. And the best way to test things is to let other people play with it and break it.
You said two things. One, you said how important speed is, particularly now with AI, how fast companies are growing. And you said the other thing about fundability. Let's start with speed first. When you have access to, again, this type of infrastructure, the community, the investors, and the capacity to grow and not only get from Oakland or San Francisco in a blink of an eye right here, how more important does that give founders an advantage to proving their fundability in the market? I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, you can look at things being kind of synonymous, where it's access to community is access to solutions. Access to community is access to funding. Access to community is access to market proof. So, you have to be able to access all these different things, and it might even be the same people. And they're giving you product market fit. They're giving you feedback on the venture side or the investment side and structuring. You'll run into all kinds of the other professionals that are part of that ecosystem. Like you're going to need to have all the pieces of the puzzle, whether you're on the data science side, you're on the coding side, you're on the legal side, the accounting side. All this stuff matters. And when you're at these community events, you're going to run into everybody all at the same time.
Yeah.
So the community and the real estate, the hardware part of it, it's funny how everything has gone full circle, where in real estate it was, you were the big time money in the US in the 90s and the 2000s, and then 2010, like you get all the SaaS companies take over. San Francisco is all SaaS. Then all of a sudden AI shows up, and now it's turning into hardware, proximity, and place.
Yeah.
And it's gone full circle. So coming back now, like we're back into the hardware game of place and people.
Yeah.
And AI is absolutely a people first industry, where like you have to be part of that community.
Yeah.
And everything changes so fast that if you're sitting in a room by yourself, the next generation of anything is happening 5 days later, 14 days later, 30 days later. You don't get a year to test product. You don't get 2 years. Like right now, I don't think I've seen the same generation of anything in AI stay the same for 90 days.
Right.
So, ultimately that speed and that exposure is more important now than it ever was.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot. I mean, we've held a ton of events. We've had other organizations hold big events. In fact, we have a big event coming up with Founder X. They'll be here next month. So we're really not only building a community, but we're collaborating with communities. So speed is, again, exponentially accelerated. You also mentioned the other word was fundable. And so these companies are getting reps. They're showing, their fundability quicker. Just from your perspective, and again, the ton of investors who come through here and do, participate in our speaker series. What have you heard from the other investors that have been here at our speaker series, the ones that we've had our dinners with, and from your personal experience, what do you think with AI, where it's at now? What is important about fundability now? What does the founder need to show?
It's really about defensibility, moat, intellectual property. Like what is like really unique about what you're doing?
Yeah.
Because software right now, like the value of software is on a race to the bottom, because a prompt effectively can just displace whatever early stage element that you were working on, because one prompt is as good as another, and then there's a huge difference between like actually deploying it in the real world. But if you were just doing software, you all of a sudden now have 5 million competitors, because everybody can do software. People that were not technically gifted with the gift of code. Yeah. And they weren't software engineers, and they didn't study software engineering and computer science for 10 years. And all of a sudden, their industry is just like poof.
Yeah.
That doesn't change the entrepreneurial side of a software engineer, and like pretty much everybody's going to turn into a product manager, where like you're actually deciding how to use software rather than how to build the software by itself. So the people that are fundable, the people that have the businesses that are going to have moat, that they're defensible and actually develop real IP, is going to be things that are unique to you and not easily accessible by somebody else. Yeah. One of those items are people. So membership and actual access to people, and a very special subset of individuals, a consumer base. And that could be different financial demographics, it could be different age demographics, it could be anything where that community that you have access to and or are able to derive as a resource will be unique to you. Yeah. So things where a company really has some sort of unique position or service or resource that other people don't have access to, that is going to add defensibility to a company and make it fundable. So like what is truly yours and not available to other people. Yeah, sounds like there's a crossover there between not only the product or whatever it is you bring to the market as being defensive, but also the founder and what resources and connectivity they have to the market already. So that relationship piece of it and how quick they can
get adoption
Yeah.
into the market. Is there any others top of mind? I mean, defensibility is huge because, like you were saying, everyone can pretty much create something in this day and age, and you don't know what it's going to look like 3 months from now. Is there another one kind of top of mind, whether it be a traditional, fundability marker, or is there something new?
Yeah, I think if you are just the absolute expert of your domain, where you have just been in this world, whether it happens to be for us, it's real estate development.
Yeah,
I could tell you everything that's wrong with it, like everything that just upsets me on a daily basis about real estate and how slow or annoying or complicated, how expensive something can be. The problems that can just sneak out of the woodwork and just bite you in the ass.
Yeah,
like things that other people, if you haven't actually played this game, you'd have no idea.
Yeah.
And building technology and solutions for that world is something that somebody like me is perfectly positioned for. Other founders, guys that are just experts in gaming, developing video games or developing, access control systems or sonar related items, people that are just absolute experts in their domain, they will have 1,000 ideas about how to solve their problems. And that's where that like founder fit kind of falls into. It's like, you are the perfect person at the perfect time in order to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And, sometimes timing is a big deal. Like there's a lot of great ideas that they did not actually work for 15 or 20 years later.
Yeah.
So, it plays an element, but AI is collapsing that time frame too.
Yeah. I love what you just said, because a lot of founders oftentimes aren't connected to the market. So when you find someone who has been immersed in it, there's like this unconscious superpower of empathy of where the pain really is. Like right now, you could build anything and you can think it's a great idea, but just because you think it's a great idea doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be that market fit. And so the fact that you bring that up, I want to point out for founders, if you're immersed in a problem yourself or a market yourself and you're bringing a solution, you have this unconscious empathy, understanding for your market. It's a superpower. For those of you who are bringing another product to market and you may not be that close, understand you're building a product for someone else's pain point, not just to say you have a good idea. So understanding that point, I think, is huge. I love that.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's kind of the two ways to come at a problem, and you can call it from like the left side or the right side. And the left side is I have built an incredible technology and I'm looking for a problem.
Yeah.
There's some people that start that way, and there's other people where it's like, I have huge problems and like these are the solutions.
Yeah.
As somebody that funds these investments and actually uses these technologies and has to solve real world problems of how we live, work, play, and go.
Yeah.
I am going to feel way more comfortable with the individual that really knew what the problem was and has solved it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of founders and people that, software engineers, and they came out of the big names. They got big brands on the resumes. They knew how to do SaaS technologies and build platforms and cloud everything and whatever it might be. And then they're coming to us asking, what's a problem in real estate? What bothers you? And it's like, well, do you want it alphabetical? Or like, where do you want me to start? And like that kind of founder scares me because
look at my diary. Here's all my pain points.
Yeah, where's the fireplace? No, we don't write that stuff down. No, but it's like that's a much more solid position of strength to come at something where like you already knew what those problems were and you've built a solution, and then now multiple tens of billions of dollars of industry has that same problem. Yeah. That person is, the right person at the right time at the right place with the right solution. Whereas if you're just a founder that understands technology and perhaps, pretty good with AI, running around looking for a problem is a lot longer road. Yeah. Especially for somebody that's looking to fund the investment.
Yeah. We've heard a ton of great insights here. So for those of you listening, again, if you're a founder, go back and listen to where these little points of leverage are for you to get the advantage. Obviously, what we're providing here at STAK Ventures, there's a lot of advantage. So again, go to stackspace.com. You want to learn more, or stackventures.com. But listen to the insights of Colin Behring, because you've built it. You've built it before. You've built this beautiful campus. What are some of the things a builder doesn't see and while they're creating stuff? I mean, you've spent years building 1900 Broadway. You purchased the building next door, the lab, the garage. This is a big project. What are some of the character qualities that were called upon within you that other founders need to really grab onto within themselves?
You said a couple different things where I think the founders and everybody can probably relate to that things change.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to change fast. And sometimes the industry or whatever you're doing is going to move at a certain speed. And you talk to people in real estate and construction, real estate only moves so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes this long to get something approved. It takes this long to pour concrete. It takes this long to build a building. And then there's other things that want to move at light speed, like a technology or a prop tech company being founded, funded, delivering a product, and going bankrupt.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden that service that's in your slow-moving real estate is now gone.
Yeah.
And you built, a lot of real estate based on the technology or whatever it is, and now they've been acquired by somebody else, and the code platforms change, and your app now needs to change because you need to plug it all in. The speed in which things will adapt as a founder and anybody that is on the investment space, you just got to stay loose and adjust. Head on a swivel, stay loose, because wherever you think you're going, tomorrow it's going to change, and you need to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And in real estate, the day this was conceived, you're talking about my first walks down Broadway, looking at this site, was late 2016. 2017, things were roaring. Oakland was actually the fastest growing office rent in the world.
Wow.
Not Singapore, not London, not Hong Kong. It was Oakland, because everything was spilling over from San Francisco. You had the whole SaaS growth and Salesforce taking over multiple towers and all the stuff that was going on. That was one world. Then 2019, everything's growing like crazy. Interest rates are starting to go up. And then all of a sudden, 20, you got COVID.
Yeah.
So prepare for that world, which is a little different than 16 going into 19. And then you're in COVID. And then now you're on your way out of COVID. And now we've set records for leasing real estate and employment growth in San Francisco, predominantly all AI. Didn't even exist the first time I was walking down the street here on Broadway. Like AI was machine learning.
Yeah.
And it was, DeepMind, Google, which were, a bunch of theoretical scientists that were in some bunker somewhere where you had no idea where they were or what they were doing. And they looked like some sort of mad scientist in your head.
Yeah.
Like, now those are the cool kids on the block. So ultimately, everything has changed, but the mission is still the same on serving people with a place to live, work, play, and go. Yeah.
You said something that I really like. And you've kind of said to me in our conversations over the last month is like, hey, just keep swinging, right? But at the same time, stay loose, stay nimble. Tell me a little bit more what that looks like for a founder to pivot, because oftentimes they set their sights on a direction. Yeah. What was that experience like for you, being so convinced about the direction you're going, you want to see it, but then all of a sudden you got to pivot and let go a little bit? What's that decision-making flex you make to kind of make that pivot easier internally?
I think when you see something working and you get a nibble of positive feedback, and let's talk about positive rather than negative.
Yeah.
You get positive feedback where all of a sudden, you built the entire feature set, but people just tend to gravitate toward one side of what you're doing or one piece of what you're doing. And like more people are talking about what you're doing. And then like even, early adopters or clients or whatever are asking you to actually build more on this piece. Lean in, like, just let that feedback kind of guide you on what's working, and don't try to force the original story. Don't try to force what you thought you were going to be doing. Just if the world is telling you something, like, you got to hear it. Yeah. Start listening.
That's really the wind for your sails then, is like you listen to that market validation, understand, back to the idea of empathy, like understanding what they need, and you hear it and you adjust your sails.
And receive it.
And receive it.
Just don't let it just go right by you. And you need to be paying attention and actually listening, because like some people, they're so fixated on the original concept because like that's what the deck said, and like that's what our tech was doing or whatever. and the actual use case for what you were doing is actually completely different than what you imagined.
Yeah, I've worked with you for the last year plus, and I've watched you being incredibly efficient with your time. When you take action on something, do you study it and then go, or do you go and then listen to the feedback, study as you go? Like how quick are you taking action? It doesn't seem like you hesitate. It seems like you're always moving.
Yeah, and hesitation does nothing. Like whatever you're doing, don't hesitate. Because standing still and waiting, you're just going to get hit by a train, or nothing good ever happens hesitating. And it's probably part of if you talk to any athlete, there is no sport that like hesitation is top of the list.
Yeah,
no. Like some people talk about patience, and that's the worst thing you could tell somebody that's impatient. So, but the biggest thing I could say for the time element, which I'm still guilty of every now and then, and try to keep reminding yourself, is the biggest thing you can do for time management and things like that is you gotta just fire yourself. What used to be every 90 days. Yeah. If you were doing something, like you were doing a job, you're doing anything, something administrative, you're doing anything that today could be done by somebody else, find that person to go do that thing for you within 90 days. Fire yourself from that job.
Create the system, pass it off, or have them do it.
Get out of that task, because that's the only way that you can kind of get back to focusing on the value creation of what the original mission was.
Yeah.
Because founders now have to do everything.
Yeah.
And our friends at Shucker VC, that's kind of like their MO, is to actually put support around you. And they have the support partners. Like if you were trying to fire yourself from a bunch of jobs, they just help fire you quicker.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the idea where, like, if you were to mark out what you're spending all your time on all day, try and take 3, 4, or 5 of those tasks, and you got to fire yourself from that within 90 days. In the AI world, maybe you need to be firing yourself every 30 days.
Yeah. You talk a lot about signal versus noise, and you seem to be, I've watched you be really good at picking up on the signal and getting right after it. Talk a little bit about how you lock into the things throughout the day. And there's 2 things here I want to lock in on: the things that have that signal that move you forward. But at the same time, I want to also reintegrate kind of the world you're in moves so slow, right? Real estate, you got to wait, but yet you're moving quick. And so there could be a lot of noise around you. And I'm not talking about the jackhammers of putting in a new concrete driveway. But talk about how you kind of balance the noise around you with the building of, this incredible campus, versus locking in on the things that you can do and really continuously move the needle.
Yeah. And when you say that kind of stuff, it kind of reminds me of kind of like really 2 different concepts. And in the founder world, you tend to see a lot of these tech founders, and especially like the unicorn stories and things like that, where, it's a very young, energetic, and extremely technically proficient individual trying to do a next billion-dollar startup unicorn. But what you're asking me, and the questions of like, how did I solve these things for me?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the answer is patience and experience. 2 things that a young founder can't have, because you were younger and you just don't have that experience yet, and you naturally start gravitating toward things that hurt less as you get older. And then, like you like when I was younger and probably 20s, all that kind of thing, you are ambitious, you have a ton of energy, and things don't hurt. So that means you're willing to spend your time and energy chasing things that are probably low signal and a lot of noise, but the risk and reward is extreme.
Yeah.
You'll take swings at it. As you get older, you kind of naturally know it's like, okay, you're going to end up in regulatory hell.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with a whole ton of technical debt trying to chase something that really, in the end, the problem you're solving actually isn't going to be the financial outcome that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And, adding feature actually isn't the mission. And that you can get there a lot faster through experience.
Yeah.
Where like you made the mistake. You built a whole entire feature set and then realized when you got there that you just really didn't need it.
Yeah.
And the resources blown on it could have been spent doing things that have more signal.
Yeah. You told me something a while back and it really stuck with me. You were sharing about when you were younger, building the golf course overseas, and your grandfather and all his wisdom
talk
said
about noise.
But you said, he trusted you to be in a situation and figure it out. And that story resonated with me because a lot of times, I'm throwing myself in situations I need to figure it out. And so for our audience who are founders and they're throwing themselves into a new country, if they're coming in from overseas and they're learning to speak a different language, or they're throwing themselves into the startup, environment and they're a first-time founder and they have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Think back to when you had to figure it out. What gave you kind of the capacity to continue to keep swinging?
Yeah, I mean, if you were trying to list all of those attributes that you really want your partners, your investor, your investment, or those attributes that it's going to take to succeed, persistence is probably going to be way up there, just way on top, just like a complete inability to quit.
Yeah.
Like you're just not physically capable of admitting defeat.
Yeah.
You need somebody that dumb to try. It's just because like the hard stuff is that way.
Yeah.
And it will look impossible until somebody does it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really smart people out there that you're going to come out with an idea and they're going to tell you, it's impossible. Like go spend your time on something else, or like it's way too hard. There's way too much red tape or whatever it is. It's like, okay, red tape is also profit. Because if you solved it and nobody else does,
I love that reframe. You guys shaking your heads, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, red tape is profit.
Yeah.
And difficulty is moat.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. That's your t-shirt moment right there. I know we got the team in here. Do you guys got any questions? They're all leaning in. Me first. Go ahead. I know you guys got questions.
Perfect.
Lean into that microphone up there.
So I've been hearing, I was talking about listening, defensibility, moat. I mean, red tape is profit, is incredible.
Get in there like you're whispering in someone's ear.
Red tape is profit is just incredible insight because it really does speak to that defensibility question. What's been coming up for me is, in founder space, we hear a good amount about build in public. I mean, current landscapes, timelines are collapsing, conversation on moat and just on what makes good product is changing quite a bit. I'm curious about what you think about the value of that encouragement to build in public.
Oh, yeah. That's a good term. Yeah, I like that.
But also, I'm thinking about some things you said about being in STAK space, being in the space, that creating the ability for just day-to-day conversations that provide access to resources, whether that's accounting. It also provides opportunity to listen and to hear and to pivot. So also curious about how this space can support people to build in public outside of that sort of generic virtual comms approach.
Yeah. So we talked about a couple different things and kind of going full circle on some of these conversations where you have like the idea of signal and noise. You build in public, you're inviting noise.
Yeah.
And I think another item that you really want to develop as just a sixth sense and a superpower is the ability to take the right lesson from something. If you build in public, you're going to get a lot of opinions and you're going to get a lot of ideas, and you're going to get, even copycats or anybody that's going to be listening to you about anything that's good. And ultimately the feedback that you take from building in public, you just need to make sure that you've identified the right lesson. And, it's not to turn you off of your product or turn you off of your dream, or to point you in the right direction, or taking a false signal that something was going to be great and it ends up it just had zero commercial value. And building in public is good because more data is more feedback, which can inform decisions.
Yeah.
But in the end, like you take the risk of getting the wrong lesson. And for some people, that's just life and death.
Yeah. I'm also seeing a lot of smart founders, because technology is changing so much with AI, redesigning the category. So there's this concept of category design. And what they do is before they, do their raise, they're educating their market on what they're doing. They're doing their newsletter, they're doing podcasts, they're getting out there in front of it and becoming that subject matter expert. And then it builds that trust and then makes it that much more easier for them to raise when they need it. So one of those ways that we're seeing founders do that here is they're utilizing this studio to educate their market. So again, I mean, as we're talking about this, about building in public, for those of you listening to this, if you like this studio and you want to utilize it, please, that's why we're here. Come and become a founder in resident. You can use this podcast studio, educate your market, become a trusted advisor, design your category, and ultimately when you're looking to raise and get those big contracts, those clients, it makes it that much more easier. So please come and utilize this great space.
It's community.
Yeah, it's community.
The community comes with all of these different opportunities. And, with that, if it's another resource, you're just putting more tools in the toolbox. These are things that live in perpetuity. Yeah. So you do it once, but you can use it 100,000 times. That is just the beauty of these kind of like, the digital side of everything you do, like where, these are tools that live forever. Yeah. So like we have an incredible presence on our YouTube channels for a lot of our real estate funds and our investment thesis and all of the different digital marketing that we've done. And those are libraries that have been built over years, but it's all leverage. Yeah. It's scaled. Yeah. And it doesn't take another hour of your time or another day to set up and do it. Like, digital marketing and these kind of assets can be used forever. Yeah. So like it's a very important part, especially if you're talking about leveraging your time. Yeah. Oh, so good. Good stuff. All right. We've covered a lot of ground. We're at the 40-minute mark. We definitely want to ask you one last question before we cut out. But what's next for Colin Behring? What's next for STAK? What's kind of top of mind for you? And then how can people connect with you? Oh, man. What's next for us? This is only a 5-minute question. Right. For us, we have been building an entire agentic AI platform to solve all of our own problems. Mm-hmm. So from a real estate development, fund management, construction, asset management, operations, and then even on our investment side, we have been kind of almost turning internally as a venture studio, mm-hmm. where we've been building products for ourselves. The amount of things that we've been able to automate and the amount of things that we've actually been able to improve, and with Agentic AI, just having access to everything that is yours throughout a long history of doing things, and then getting the insights. So that, really building out our internal agent presence, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. has been kind of the current focus for our technology side. And it is just amplifying everything we do on a real estate side. Yeah. And just the data across 1.3 million square feet and thousands of users, mm-hmm. and how they move through real estate, how they use it, and how they want to use things. You find weird activities sometimes. A couple thousand people on a campus, but it creates opportunities as well. But building agentic platforms right now for real estate construction and management, and you think of all the little categories that revolve around the real estate industry, mm-hmm. where you talk about insurance, you're talking about security, you talk about all the services, whether it's janitorial and concierge, and integrating with the apps, like the agentic side, and leveraging all the power of our team, mm-hmm. where if you were a small team of 15 to 20 people, they can get, the magic and the power of 100. Right. So I think a lot of companies, really coming and trying to really kind of become AI native, mm-hmm. for their operations. You're just going to see this accelerant. You're going to see this exponential return. And it might be kind of a weird answer for a real estate development and fund management firm, and for our venture capital side, which is just minuscule compared to the real estate. But it is all agentic AI at this point. And just to clarify for the founders who are listening right now, I mean, make no mistake about it, Colin's wheelhouse is in the real estate space, but the Founders in Residence program here is very agnostic. So no matter what sector you are in, come one, come all, connect with us. Go to stakventures.com. You can upload your pitch deck. You can connect with our team. There's a number of ways that you can connect with us. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, DM me. Our entire team is here to help you succeed. And again, if you don't have a team to get your message out, we can help you set up in here. There's just a number of ways that we'd love to help you. And so last question, how can people connect with you? Easiest ways, you can find me on LinkedIn at Colin Behring, and then through our websites, it's just behringco.com, Behring Co. And if you really, really want to find me, you need to just come run around 1900 Broadway.
I was just going to say,
The chances are you're going to see us jetting across the street, whether it's to 1900 or to Franklin, or you're going to see us walking on the streets. So.
Yeah, if you're on campus, you're very accessible. You're literally sitting in the co-working space doing your daily work, which I think is really cool. So you're super accessible. Love that. Love having this conversation with you, man. Fun times.
Ryan, thank you.
All right. It's been great, guys. Thanks, team, for doing this. Those of you who are listening, again, connect with us. We'd love to help you grow. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.